Hey guys, Chonkers here.
Welcome, all my Chalk Army viewers, and if you're new to this channel,
Welcome.
consider subscribing. I know you want to join this army. Today, I have an exciting news to tell you. I have completed the Basilisk frigate. Oh yes, not this is like the 20th version of it, but I promise this one is here to stay. And after this, Chalk Army ships, Star Destroyer is going to be finished, and it will be amazing. But I know what you're thinking. Chonkers, we want to see some cinematics. Oh, don't you worry. Here come the cinematics. The TGE Basilisk. Well known across the galaxy as a constantly updating frigate, it had now been finalized. This vessel was ready for war, and greatly appreciated throughout the Tundari army. The hangar had been refitted to hold up to 3 fighters, but had to be released one at a time. New fighters were to be designed in the future. Above the hangar and below, near the front, were constantly repaired decoys, which would draw fire away from the crafts as they flew out of the hangar bay. Major changes were made to the Tundarians' interiors of the Basilisk, now more cramped, which made the Tundarians feel much more comfortable, as it felt like they were back at home. The lower deck allowed crew members to repair almost any component of the ship with ease. The upper deck was slightly changed to house a projector within the command bridge to allow the captain to see any damages to the ship. The Basilisk had finally reached its final form and was the starting point for many new ships of the Tundari Galactic Empire. Well, here it is, the Tundari Galactic Empire's very own Basilisk frigate. Complete. No more! No more other designs. This is it. So I've always wanted to create some sort of design that was unique to the Tundarians and that looked, you know, alien-like, but not too alien-like, kind of like lizard industrial. And I feel like I finally accomplished it. Obviously, as Space Engineers updates, this ship will update as well. But my idea behind this is that, you know, I like to think of a solid idea, like how the Empire Star Destroyer is triangle, and all of their ships kind of follow that design from the quad drive system. So whenever I create a faction or an army, I like to do the same and have, like, you know, a certain style that they kind of model all of their ships after. And I think this long, skinny, tall design that almost looks lizard-like, you know, it's got like a head, you can kind of like imagine that there'd be arms, whatever. I think this kind of embodies a lizard-like feel, and it still has that very industrial feel, and I'm much more pleased with the engine in the back now that it's like kind of. Previously, I had almost all the engines exposed. I know these ones are, but that's all right. But it looked a little too junky to me. But now everything's kind of covered. It looks like there's two very nice shells that go all the way across it, and I'm very pleased with the design. So as you can see, we have the anti-fighter guns in the front, but we also have them in the rear, like a lot of people said. And I've had this in my original design, is to have rear-facing anti-spacecraft guns. They do target large ships, which is kind of weird because they are called anti-fighter guns. But I mean, as you saw in the cinematic, I think they make an awesome sound and they look really cool shooting that other ship, one of the Kilo transports, as the Tundaris do when people get into their territory. So, and as my ships are typically classified, this is a frigate, so 10 gun mounts. So they've got 6 anti-ship guns and then the 4 smaller anti-fighter. So I've already shown the interior, but I'll give just a quick run through. We have this hallway that really goes to nowhere, and I was thinking of having some sort of control system here, as if they would control the guns, but I felt like that was too close to the airlock, so I didn't go with it. Just some empty space, maybe, you know, if I want some more mod blocks, maybe able to fit them in there. Maybe some cargo. That might actually be well worth to put in. I actually removed the engine room door, not for any particular, well, the reason is that this air vent kind of fills up this entire hallway, and every time I leave an airlock, it sucks air out of here and slowly depletes it. So if this door's closed, so now it just always goes and fills up this area. So we got the crew quarters, we've got the kitchen, and I don't have any signs above them, which is kind of annoying, but it's kind of like, you know, green, habitable, sleeping area, and then gray, lunchroom area is kind of how you have to think of it. But if we go through here, this is the hangar airlock, and this is what it looks like. So we've got the classic antenna right above, and it looks very open, very spacey, very industrial, which was kind of a feature that I wanted to have. Make sure that it looks good. And then we have these little ramps down so you could get underneath ships that are parked. And the reason why I don't use stairs anymore is because they have these like railings, as you can see right here, and they poke up just a little bit, and sometimes it gets in the way when I'm landing, so I wanted a nice flat area. And we have three spots for 3 fighters, and I have a design, and I will dedicate a whole video to designing the fighters that will sit inside the Tundarian frigate. Something new, something fresh, something that we haven't seen before. Then we come over here, we have this large cargo container, fill all the supplies up at the front. You may be saying, well, this is going to get targeted first and it's going to get destroyed. Well, that's why I have, and it's mirrored on both the bottom and top. We have 16 decoys. So when things are being shot, those should be targeted first. I guess the cargo container is up front first, so technically that's going to be targeted first, but there's enough armor on the outside that it should be protected. Now, something else that I changed is actually the interior of the engine bay. So I said this in my last Starship design video, and that was I was going to bring these atmospheric thrusters down a little bit so I could add another floor, and I did, and it was well worth it. So like I've said many times before, when creating a ship, it's really good to just kind of play around with the designs. Don't finalize everything, you know, just play around a little bit, make sure it looks the way that you want, because now just adding a couple more blocks, I was able to fit all the gyros into one area, and now I have enough room to add my modded energy shield blocks. So it's got, obviously not all of the spaces are filled, but that's fine. It's more of like, it can hold a lot of shields, but the recharge is not great on the ship. It's more of, the ship's more designed to just rush in with the amount of shields that it has, you know, completely obliterate its target, and if there's more, it would have to run away, recharge its shields, and then come back for another forward assault. So now we have two ways to get around. You can go down across, or you can just walk in front and then get to the gravity generator. It'd be a cool little PvP area, and then we come back up. So in the last build, I actually removed one of the oxygen generators, and then I had added this little space, so almost it's like you can walk in here and then like you're working on the O2. I was gonna add a door, but it just looked better just to not have the door. Also, you can access it right here, so I was like, there's no really point to having a door. But it's the O2 area. Come up here, med bay. Nothing's changed, but we can show that off a little bit. So we've got our MRI scan, or CT scan, or whatever. Check your vitals there. We've got this nice table, and this is where the doctor would sit. He would sit here doing all of his paperwork. And then patients waiting to be checked up, they would sit right there. We got cryo rooms for our giant lizard friends when they would have to switch shifts. And then obviously the med bay. And then coming up the staircase, we get into this nice lobby area with not enough light, but that's fine. I probably should have put it in the middle, then it would have lit up this entire area, but that's fine. So the captain's quarters is my favorite area. Obviously where the Alpha Tundarian would live as the captain, and he has this nice lounge area where he can watch his TV, and then his captain seat, so he can sit here and, you know, enjoy his lunch and maybe watch some TV or do some logs. He has his own personal kitchen. And then having this area, which is all sectioned off, which makes sense to have his actual room. So he's got his bed here, and then over here he's got his own personal bathroom, so he doesn't have to share it with the crew or anything. You know, he keeps his clean and nice. And then we come out, and then we head towards the bridge, and in the bridge we have the captain's seat, the two I guess you would say, they're not really co-pilots, they're more of like gun commanders or, you know, flight control. So one person would tell how the fighters, like when they can come in and land, if the hangars are open, the other person controls the guns where they're going to shoot, and then the captain obviously controls the flight. Obviously in Space Engineers you can control everything from the captain's seat, but. And then we have our classic Tundari antenna where it flashes red, and these amazing red thrusters. And guys, I'm telling you, even if you don't like mods, which I don't know why you would, Mr. Pickles, I'm talking to you, these thruster mods are absolutely amazing. Like, I can't get enough of them. You can even color the atmospheric thrusters. I mean, I guess you don't really have to because they're atmospheric, but still, that just like looks so cool. Even if they're not being used in space, it's just like this red line going across the bottom of my ship. Oh, and it looks fucking awesome. Obviously, we can turn those off in space, and it looks perfectly fine. Very industrial, very ribbed. And then when we fly, I actually have it set so that it glows white. So it's like it gets white hot when flying. And as you can see, it picks up speed really quickly because of those hydrogen thrusters. And then it maneuvers pretty well because it's got hydrogen thrust in every which way. The one thing I would add though is if in survival, there was a survival world where they didn't have third person for whatever reason, I would add a couple cameras on it, because technically, even if you have your bridge fully concealed or within your ship, you can have cameras on the outside and in little domed areas where you can still view the outside of your ship. For instance, I could have a rotor with a small block and then a camera on it, and I could even swivel it to like look in other directions while having my command bridge on the inside. So yeah, this is my Tundari frigate, so I hope you enjoyed. But that's all I have for today. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. And if you did, please consider leaving a like, subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next episode. Join our wonderful Chonk army and become a soldier. All you have to do is subscribe. As always, stay safe, stay lovely, stay positive, stay chonk. Chonkers, your lord, out.